Live from the campus of Washington and Lee University with news for Rockbridge County, this is the Rockbridge Report.
Good evening and welcome to a special election night edition of the Rockbridge Report. I'm Lily Mott and I'll be joined later in the newscast by fellow news anchor Donald LeCompte and Shauna Muckle with weather. Election night is finally here. The biggest bout on the ballot places Republican incumbent Donald Trump against Democratic nominee Joe Biden for the United States presidency. Voting is well underway across America today as polls are starting to close. Millions stood in line to cast their ballots in this historic presidential election. Campaigns for both candidates say they see a path to victory, but with so many mail-in ballots this year, it could be days before a winner is decided. CNN's Camilla Bernal is in Wilmington, Delaware with the latest.
A lot's at stake. A lot's going to happen.
From Hawaii to Ohio, Wisconsin to North Carolina and Pennsylvania, Americans are turning out in big numbers this election day to cast their ballots.
I don't feel safe as a black man living in America. We must systematically make changes. So that is why I'm going into here. I'm exercising my right to vote.
More than 100 million people voted early, according to a survey of election officials by CNN, Edison Research, and Catalyst, setting records in many states. But officials say it could be days before all the votes are counted.
It's going to take us a little while to count, and that's why I think it's really important that we all prepare to be patient and make sure that we get this right.
Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden made a stop in his hometown of Scranton, Pennsylvania, where he visited his childhood home and spoke to people at a labor union.
All my basic values. I learned at my grandpa's table at 2446 North Washington Avenue that money does not determine your wealth.
President Donald Trump made a visit to his campaign headquarters in Arlington, Virginia.
I feel very good. After doing that many rallies, the voice gets a little bit choppy, I think.
In Wilmington, Delaware, I'm Camilla Bernal.
During our 9:30 broadcast, we will start giving results on the races, but you can also check anytime on our website, rockbridgereport.wlu.edu. Spotswood Drive looked a little bit different this morning as Lexington voters came to the Rockbridge Area Relief Association to vote. Part of the road was one way to make it more convenient for voters. Lexington made the safety of voters the top priority. The city offered curbside voting and they had the usual polling stations inside of the Rah-Rah building. Polling stations were cleaned after each use and voters got to keep the pen they used for filling out their ballot. Everyone was required to wear a mask to enter the building. Many voters came right at 6 a.m. to post their ballot, but the registrar for Lexington says the rest of the morning was fairly slow. 2,000 people voted early by mail or by in-person absentee voting in this city this year. Here's what some Lexington voters say about why they voted in person.
I vote in person on Election Day because I think it's really patriotic and I like feeling the sense of community and patriotism that you get. Seeing other voters in person, all gathered together with the poll workers. I just think it's a really important part of our civic duty. It is a right, but it's also a responsibility.
I've always voted in person, and I didn't feel that there was any problems with voting in person in Virginia and here in Lexington, so I felt very, very comfortable about doing it.
I decided to vote in person because I thought it's something that I'm used to. I like to be indoors, and I like to just go inside and just vote on paper.
I thought everyone was really mindful of COVID guidelines and also just really polite and kind, and we've got a great voting system down in Lexington.
Yeah, I felt it was overkill. So yeah, no, I didn't have a problem.
I felt pretty comfortable because I work at a grocery store, and I'm pretty used to everyone, all the masks wearing.
Of course, there's more than the presidential race on the ballot. We'll preview the races we'll keep an eye on this evening, starting with the U.S. Senate race. Incumbent Democrat Mark Warner takes on the Republican Daniel Gade. And in the race for U.S. House 6th District, which covers most of the Shenandoah Valley, Republican incumbent Ben Cline takes on Democrat Nicholas Betts. A beautiful day throughout much of that 6th Congressional District today, a great day to vote. Shauna Muckle gives the meteorological numbers that may have helped boost turnout numbers today. Shauna?
It was a great day for voting here in Lexington.
As you can see from earlier footage this morning of the polling center, there was clear skies and sun, so turnout likely wasn't affected too much by conditions today. And the high today was 64 degrees, again, plenty of sun. Low this morning of 37 degrees, but things picked up pretty quickly as the sun came out. Barometric pressure right now is 30 and 22/100 inches of mercury. One thing to note is that there is quite a bit of wind right now, 6 miles per hour of wind right now, and not too much humidity, just 36% humidity right now. As you can see from the radar, there's no chance of precipitation throughout the region, so it's unlikely that we'll see much rain before the polls close at 7. And then for the rest of the region, things look pretty similar across the board. Right now, everywhere is pretty much in the 50s, clear skies, sun earlier today pretty much throughout the rest of the region, so again, not likely to have a big effect on turnout. Lexington, Buena Vista, and Lynchburg looking very similar in their temperatures and conditions right now. 57 in Lexington and Lynchburg, 58 in Buena Vista. And then up in Stanton, it's a little bit cooler, 54 degrees in Stanton. Over in Charlottesville, it's 59 degrees, so a lot like the rest of the region. And then over in Covington, again, clear skies, 56 degrees over in Covington. And Roanoke has the high for the region, 60 degrees, and again, those clear skies. For the rest of the week after Election Day, we're going to see quite an uptick in temperatures actually here in Lexington. 68 degrees on Wednesday, a little bit higher than today, and 40 degrees at night, so still a little bit chillier night as we've been seeing for the past few days. Thursday at 69 degrees, continuing that upward trend, 46 degrees at night. Sunny or partly sunny on both of those days, so no chance of precipitation. And then on Friday, we're going to see again even higher temperatures during the day. 72 degrees on Friday, very mild, pretty nice, especially for November, and partly sunny. Saturday at 72 degrees and 50 degrees at night, so temperatures at night are also coming up. And on Sunday, it's 71 degrees for the high and 57 for the low. So overall, it looks like we're going to have some pretty nice temperatures throughout the rest of the week. Next on the Rockbridge Report, reporter Jen Nee is live at the Virginia Horse Center for the Republican Election Night Party. And later, reporter Zach England will show you highlights from Election Day in Buena Vista.
Welcome back to Election Night with the Rockbridge Report. I'm Donald LeCompte. Throughout the night, our reporters will be checking in from the locations of both political parties. Reporter Jen Nee is live outside the Virginia Horse Center, where the Republican Party's Election Night gathering is taking place. Jen?
Thanks, Donald. So I'm here tonight with Wes Golp. How are you tonight, Wes?
I'm excellent. You know, I've been we've been waiting for this night for 4 years, and it's interesting to finally be here and watching it.
That's great. So for our viewers at home, what should they expect to see tonight as election results roll in?
Well, in terms of as a Virginia voter, aren't probably going to be many surprises in terms of Virginia races. Mark Warner and Daniel Gade Mark Warner is slated to win here. And results are just coming in now, so within an hour or two, we'll probably know how that race is going to go. On a national level, pertaining to the presidential race, the next hour and a half, 2 hours will be critical, absolutely critical for Donald Trump and his campaign. We will if he is able to prove that he is able to hold on to North Carolina, Georgia, and Florida, we will, if he manages to hold on to those, we will know that this race will be a lot tighter than some people might be predicting. If he does not perform well in those 3 states, which will be closed, Florida and Georgia, I believe, close to 7, and North Carolina around this time as well. If he cannot clinch these at this stage of the night, that would bode very poorly for him and his campaign. Later on in the night, when Pennsylvania closes and other Rust Belt states such as Michigan, Minnesota, Wisconsin, once they close, that will further determine the outcome of the election in the sense that they are critical states which Donald Trump won and needs to hold on to cinch another victory here in 2020.
Right. And why are we seeing these trends this year?
Well, why are we seeing these trends?
Yes.
Well, there's 2016 was a significant sort of coalition, a realignment of coalitions in a sort of way. Much has been written, as many have noted, that blue-collar voters in a lot of these Rust Belt states have departed from the Democratic Party in terms of supporting what traditionally they had been in favor of, the kind of pro-union, policies of the Democrats, but in recent years they have been attracted to Donald Trump and his message. The question is, will they stick around for this year? And much is to be determined. It's hard to tell at this stage whether they are sticking around, but this 2020 will determine definitively if that is a permanent realignment of party coalitions or if it was just a flash in the pan in a way.
Got it. And I know most importantly for viewers at home, will we know who our next president is tonight?
Well, we could. And it depends on states like Pennsylvania. The margin, if it is a razor-thin margin in Pennsylvania, which we will know in the next couple of hours if it is a razor-thin margin, if it is that small of a margin, it is likely that we won't know. And court litigation might proceed and be the source of much speculation over the next couple of weeks. However, if either Donald Trump if Joe Biden is able to perform a sort of blowout result in Florida, Georgia, or North Carolina, which report a lot earlier than these other swing states, that will indicate that we might actually know by the end of the night. But in general, the only way we will know that this will be, or know the results in a traditional, say, night of the election sense, it will only be if Joe Biden has swept those states.
Thanks, Wes. Well, back to Donald in the studio.
Thanks, Jen. We will check back in with you a little bit later. Now, the first of 2 state constitutional amendments on the ballot, if passed, would establish a redistricting commission and give it the responsibility to set district lines. This bipartisan commission would consist of 8 citizens and 8 members of the General Assembly. And we can see here, we have no votes yet coming in, no precincts reporting thus far in Virginia, so we will check back in with this race a little bit later this evening to see if there's any word. The second possible amendment would provide motor vehicle tax exemptions for veterans with disabilities. Again, no votes in quite yet, so we will check back in here later. And one of the only local contested races is in Buena Vista, where an unexpired seat on the school board is up for grabs between Annie Lepere and Mac Feltz. Again, none of our precincts reporting yet here in Virginia or in Buena Vista City, so we will check back in. Buena Vista City Hall is lined with political signage today, though, as it has been turned in to the city's polling station. The building was split into 2 precincts, and the city enforced precautions for the safety of voters. Workers wore face shields and did temperature checks before voters could head to the polls. Social distancing and mask wearing was enforced. Voting stations were sanitized, and pens were switched out throughout the day. Representatives of the Republican Party and Buena Vista School Board candidates Mac Feltz and Annie Lepere greeted voters and passing traffic in the morning and afternoon. Reporter Zach England talked to school board candidates and some other voters earlier today.
I wouldn't say that it's busy at any particular time, except right at 6 o'clock this morning when the poll opened, there was a good line out here.
There's a lot of first-time voters today, which is really fun. Some of them I can tell, because I can tell they're like 18, 19, but then some of them aren't, and they said that they're voting today and they've never voted before, or they haven't voted in a long time.
The way that they made adjustments for coronavirus, they have everyone spaced evenly, 6 feet apart, and then they have people going at a certain pace and rate, and then they have hand sanitizer.
Hand sanitizer. I was impressed in how diligent they were with making sure they didn't come directly into contact with things we were passing back and forth. They did a wonderful job.
They're on face shields.
Yeah.
And the other contested race in the area is in Goshen. 2 spots on the town council are at stake between 3 candidates: Stephen Bickley, Bobby Burke, and Deborah Bowden. Can see here we will check back in a little bit later. Next on the Rockbridge Report, though, we will go back to reporter Jen Nee at the Virginia Horse Center with our political expert Wes Culp. And later, we'll show you all the uncontested races in the area. Welcome back to the Rockbridge Report. I'm Donald LeCompte. Now we will head back to the Virginia Horse Center with reporter Jen Nee, who this time will actually speak to a different Republican over at the Horse Center. Jen?
So here I have Doug Smith, the chairman of the Rockbridge Area Republican Committee. How are you tonight, Doug?
Fine, thank you. Thank you very much.
That's great to hear. So what can we expect to see tonight?
We expect to see a great victory, I hope, a crushing victory.
Great. What? So what will be the indicators that we have if President Donald Trump will be reelected then? What are you guys watching for?
We're watching for, probably like everyone else is, the states where it's most important for him to win the Electoral College. Obviously, the focus is on a little bit more than Virginia. It'd be nice if he wins Virginia, but I'm most concerned with Michigan, Wisconsin, Florida, and so on.
Okay, and what are the trends in these states right now? Do you guys have any idea?
Well, polls are just closing on the eastern seaboard at 7, but what we've heard and read is that there's a great number of Republican votes, a higher turnout than expected, and that the Democrat turnout is actually a little bit lower.
Okay, awesome. Thanks for your time tonight, Doug. Back to Donald in studio.
Though voting just ended in Virginia, the local uncontested races are all but won. Lexington Mayor Frank Friedman ran unopposed for his re-election, and 3 candidates are running for 3 spots on the Lexington City Council. Ballots show 5 candidates, but Amber Poole and Kate Crosman dropped out after the ballots had been printed. Our race is uncontested in Goshen, where 1 candidate, Sandra Schaefer, is aiming to fill the unexpired spot on the town council. And in Glasgow, 4 seats on this town council are up for grabs in an uncontested race. First are the 3 candidates, Sonny Williams, Aaron Britton, and Andrew Ryan, aiming for 3 slots. And Tom Camden is running unopposed for 1 unexpired position on the town council. Well, that's all we have for now, folks. For Shauna Muckle, Lily Mott, and the rest of the Rockbridge Report team, I'm Donald LeCompte. Thank you for tuning into the first part of our election night coverage. We'll see you again at 9:30 and at any time on rockbridgereport.wlu.edu.